Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's tutorial is a combination of warm matte browns and a peachy duochrome glow on the inner corner of the eyes. For foundation, I've already applied a little bit of this Bobbi brown stick foundation and I'm just applying a little bit more where I need it. This looks great on my cheeks, but my forehead has just gone into overdrive since I got back from -6-degree weather on my holiday, so my skin is super bumpy. I'm going to take some of this creamy concealer from my Bobbi Brown Pro palette. This is great if you're a makeup artist. I've gone through a couple of these in my kit, but if you're just looking for a nice creamy concealer that's great at covering under eye circles, then you can check out their creamy concealers in the individual pans. So I've just swiped that underneath my eyes with a brush and then I'm just pushing it into the skin using my beauty blender. So the first shade I'm using is Creme Brulee by MakeUp Geek, and I'm going to work this into the socket of the eye. The brush I'm using to do this is my MAC 286 Duo Fibre blending brush. I layered this eyeshadow a few times to really build up the opacity. If you don't have a lot of space between your eyelid and your eyebrow, then only apply a very small amount and don't take it up as high. On my small crease brush by Blank Canvas Cosmetics, I'm also taking that underneath the lower lashes and making sure I connect that with the outer corner of the top lid. This is important so that it frames the eye and everything is connected. The next colour I'm taking is by MakeUp Geek, and this one is called Frappe. Using my MAC 239 brush, I'm applying this to the eyelid. I'm concentrating the majority of that colour on the outer corner of the eye, and then I'm going to fade that through to the centre. Then going in with my small crease brush, I'm going to work a small amount of that through the socket. Now we are going to be going over this with other eyeshadows, but it's important to have this underneath so we get that depth to the eyeshadow. I'm also running that colour underneath the bottom lashes, and again I'm making sure that I connect that with the outer corner of the top lid. The next eyeshadow I'm going in with is Cocoa Bear by MakeUp Geek, and this is another warm matte brown eyeshadow. Using the same 239 flat shader brush by MAC, I'm pressing this onto the outer corner of the mobile eyelid, and I'm feathering that colour towards the centre. Then once again, using a C-shape motion, I'm applying that underneath the bottom lashes and connecting that with the outer corner of the top lid. Then I'm using a clean blending brush to buff around the seams. To intensify this look, I'm going in with this matte brown eyeshadow called Americano, which is also by MakeUp Geek. And using my pencil brush by MAC, I'm subtly applying this to the outer third of the mobile eyelid, and then buffing over the seams with my small crease brush. I'm only buffing left to right and making sure not to take that colour into the socket. On my MAC 266 brush, I'm applying this colour underneath the bottom lashes, and then you just want to use the bristles to feather the colour downwards into that brown that we've already got underneath those lower lashes. I'm reapplying a little bit more of the Americano, again keeping it to the very outer third of that mobile eyelid, and sweeping in that C shape, I'm connecting that to the lower lashes. Next I'm taking I'm Peachless, also by MakeUp Geek, and this is a duochrome finish. And on a clean 239 brush, I'm pressing that on the inner corner of the mobile eyelid and feathering that through to the centre. And to feather means to use a lighter hand and light swooping motions. Using the very tip of the brush, I'm also taking a small amount of that around the tear duct area. So now we've got beautiful ombre. Next up is this AMC gel eyeliner by Inglot, and the shade I'm using is number 89, which is a nice rich chocolatey brown colour. Using my favourite paintbrush, I'm applying this to the top lash line all the way across. I'm not creating any flicks with this, it's just a straight line from the very inner corner to the outer corner. I'm also running that along the waterline, and then using the very tip of my brush, I'm creating more of a point at that inner corner. I am going to be applying some falsies, but I'm first going to apply a couple of coats of my Better Than Sex mascara by Too Faced. The lashes I'm using are called Melrose Avenue by Backstage Beauty. These are definitely a new favourite of mine, and I'm applying these using Duo Glue. To add some definition to the face, I'm going to be using my Laguna Bronzer by NARS, and I'm sweeping this into the hollows of the cheeks and pulling that colour up onto the cheekbone. I'm using my favourite cheek brush by Zoeva, this is their 127 brush. I'm also taking a small amount of that around my hairline. As I always say, foundation can make your face look very flat, and we want to put some colour back into the face to make it look more three-dimensional again. And this also warms up your complexion. For blush, I'm using this warm peachy shade by Diego Della Palma. This is in the shade 04. And using my Blank Canvas Cosmetics F15 brush, I'm placing this slightly on the apples of the cheeks, but pulling the colour backwards. To add a small highlight to the face, I'm using this colour by Becca Cosmetics, and it's in the shade Champagne Pop. I'm only going to keep the highlighter to my Cupid's bow, nose and corners of the eyes. My skin's quite textured at the minute after coming back from such cold weather, so I'm going to wait for that to calm down before I apply any highlighter to it. And the reason for that is because highlighter will make your skin look even more textured. I'm lining my lips with MAC's Subculture Lip Pencil. I'm opting for a nude lip, but if you wanted to add some colour, that's completely up to you. For lips, I'm using Peach Stock by MAC. This is a beige peach tone and it's a satin finish. Then on the centre of my lips, using my finger, I'm going to place a little bit of that I'm Peachless eyeshadow. It's going to tie in with the eyes and it's a beautiful way to highlight your lips. And that completes my Peach Fudge makeup look. This is very me, it's something I would personally wear for a special event. So as promised, here are the winners of last week's giveaway. And yes, you've heard me correctly, I've decided to announce 3 winners as opposed to 1. So I'm just going to divide up the entire product between 3 people. Thank you to everyone that entered, and don't be disheartened if you didn't win because I have plenty more to come in the future. I want to wish you the most wonderful Christmas. I hope you're having a lovely day, and I will see you back here next week for my next tutorial. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already done so, and if you missed my previous tutorials you can click on these now.